In hushed conversations where women come together, we ask one another how any one of us could turn into a sea hag, how a being of comfort and compassion could grow as cold and cruel as the ocean herself. We reassure ourselves that it could never happen to us. But in those moments when we are at our most honest, we look in the mirror and our eyes betray our fears. I set out one morning with my notebook and camera to ask the only people who know for sure, the sea hags themselves. Many refused to speak to me at all, and none would speak on camera or be photographed, but some agreed to be interviewed. What follows is in their own words. Sarah is the first sea hag to grant me an interview. I must admit to a trembling in my knees as I tread the pebbled sands towards her cave. If I incur her wrath, I may find my fate in the ocean's depth before the day is out. I take a gift of bread as the fishermen do. Instead of leaving it outside and hurrying away, I hold it before me like a talisman and step inside her cave. Sarah doesn't look much like a sea hag at first glance. Her nails are trimmed and filed, and she wears a cosy dressing gown that covers her scaled body, and her silver hair is swept up into a bun that looks more unkempt librarian than wild hag. But her eyes flash with an inner storm when she speaks, and I can't help but wonder what brought her to this point. My voice has a tremor, but I ask her. Looking back, there were lots of things that could have nudged me towards the edge, but the final push was trivial. Alan came in from the kitchen to announce with his usual fanfare that he had done the dishes. Normally I would have said thanks, love, and carried on reading my book, but this time the words tumbled from my mouth before I had a chance to think them over. Want a medal? I said. I put my hand over my mouth afterwards. That's how shocked I was. Alan went from smug to affronted in the time it took for the blood to redden his cheeks. I beg your pardon. At this point I could have lied and said I was joking. But no, something had changed and there was, I realised, no taking those words back. Look, love, I said, do I make an announcement every time I wash the dishes? Hoover the carpet? Clean the loo? There was more, but I felt that listing every single chore I did that he ignored might be overkill. No, but nothing, Alan. I work full-time as well. I shouldn't have to give you a pat on the head every time you get off your arse and wash a few dishes. Alan stood blinking at me for a moment. I don't think he'd ever heard me swear once in 30 years of marriage. And then he shook his head in that infuriating way he has that makes me feel like a naughty child who has disappointed him, and stomped off upstairs. I tried to go back to my book, but an itch began behind my left ear that soon grew to annoying proportions. I rubbed at the skin, which felt dry and in need of moisturiser. A piece flaked off and caught in my fingernail. When I held it up to the light, it shone with an odd iridescent quality, like a dragonfly wing. I didn't think much of it at the time. A bit of psoriasis, perhaps? Dry skin brought on by menopause? I made a mental note to let the doctor have a look if it didn't clear up in a few days. It never did get better, though. I simply grew accustomed to my new moisturising routine. Of course, that was only the start of it all. I know better now. Sarah turns her head and pulls her ear forward, revealing gills. I am both horrified and fascinated as they open and close.